All right. The title of today's discussion is Manifest Like a Prophet, Speak It Until It's Flesh. So we're going to continue down this path of really speaking power into y'all, right? As a collective, remembering who we are. So we're going to jump right into it, okay? So anytime that you are living unconsciously, you are living by some default prophecy. Right, we can blame things on fate, we can blame it on destiny, we can blame it on this person, that thing, right? But when we're living unconscious, we're living by some default prophecy. But conscious living is living as a divine script where we become the author, the editor, the publisher, the reader, the writer, right? The main character in our own stories. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Let me hit the live button and we can start. All right, cool. You are not simply living a life, you are writing one. With every word, every thought, every assumption, you are shaping the invisible into form. You're not waiting on a prophecy to be fulfilled. You are fulfilling one right now with your being. The question is not if you are prophesying. The question is what script are you speaking into reality? All right, whether you know that you are doing it or not, you're creating. Whether you want to do it or not, you're creating. All right. So the question is, what script are you speaking into reality truly? All right. So Proverbs 18:21, the main verse that I want to talk about today. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Key word in here is love, right? They that love it. All right. So death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. We talked about the story of Job, and how Job was in awe of the Lord, or what was translated, because Lord truly means the law in the Old Testament, right? Lord is the law. So we saw that Job was in awe of the law. But right here we talk about love, all right? Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So let's break this down. Your words are not empty. They are seeds laced with vibration and intention. Every sentence you speak sends a frequency into the fabric of reality, shaping outcomes, coloring perception, and summoning unseen forces. When scripture says death and life are in the power of the tongue, it is reminding you that your voice is not neutral. No word just leaves you idly, leaves the temple of God, which you are, and just idly goes into reality and sits there. It's all intentional. It's all purposeful. Every word that you cast, you will have to walk and realize that word sooner or later. All right, so your word, your voice is not neutral, it's creative. When you speak over your health, your future, your identity, your relationships, it all takes roots. It's all a seed. It's all being planted, and it's all going to confront you later. So words can curse or they can bless. They can imprison you in cycles of limitation, or they can call forth divine possibilities. So what is there not to love about this? Right? So the story of Job, and we did a whole discussion on it, why that was so important is because it represents, you know what I'm saying, it's not just a history story. It represents the journey of all of us into our consciousness, into an elevated state of consciousness, meaning Job at first believed in two powers, good and bad, right and wrong. He thought by his righteousness, his human righteousness, that's just created on some human construct of morality, that if he did the right thing, he would get prosperity. And because he feared God and he shunned, quote unquote, evil, right, all of a sudden he would get these blessings. He believed that that's where his power was. So he was in awe of God. He didn't love the power to create. He didn't love the source within him, truly knowing that he is communing with source in every moment. He simply thought, by following the law of the land, that I will be granted prosperity. And so we see all of three characters representing three aspects of his consciousness. The wife representing his marriage, the third dimensional reality, right? And so he had to go on this journey of confronting all of his thoughts, confronting the realization that him and reality are co-creating. He's creating reality. Reality is the mirror of him. He can't get rid of it. And then going into prayer and understanding who he was, now he invited his higher self to speak to him and remind him, I have weapons you don't know of. Source has weapons you do not know of. Okay? So it went from him believing in these two powers to realizing there's only one power in co-creating. And once he started co-creating, now he was blessed with more than he had before, right? So to love the tongue is to respect its sacred power, right? It is to speak with intention. Or we don't look out at the world around us and blame something outside of us for something that's going on. We simply use it to direct our thoughts and words more carefully. This is the definition of loving. We love every moment. We step in every moment with love, with reverence, understanding that it's our thoughts and our words that are creating everything. All right, so to love the tongue is to respect its sacred power, to speak with intention, to choose language that aligns with what you actually want to manifest. Because as the verse says, you will eat the fruit of what you speak. And if you love the power of the tongue, then the fruit that you eat will be delicious. This is the life that you deserve. You deserve a delicious, divine life. Your reality becomes a harvest of the words you've sown in faith, fear, or carelessness. If you declare lack, you live in it. If you declare light, it surrounds you. Every I am you utter becomes a door that you step into, a portal. Every declaration of I am, which is really every single sentence that we say, we're always declaring who we are directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, by the words that we're speaking. Everything that you say is a declaration of I am being the Father's name. It's a declaration of what you are believing that God within you to be. If you speak of lack over yourself, you're using the Lord's name in vain, because the Lord's name is what? I am. All right, so if you declare lack, you live in it. If you declare light, it surrounds you. Every I am you utter becomes a door, a portal you step into. The tongue is not merely a muscle. It is an instrument of prophecy. And when you awaken to this truth, you no longer speak by reaction, you speak by revelation. What greater humility is there than to understand that, oh shit, every moment, every word, every thought that I acknowledge and accept, I'm co-creating with Source. Would you be more reverent in every moment? Would you walk through every moment and treat every moment as sacred, as holy, as an invitation to know yourself better? This is why Source came down here, to send it down here within you, to know itself, to understand itself as the creator. And so this is why you're going through this experience. And in every single moment, as you are present, you're looking around and you're just seeing a mirror reflection of you. And it's giving you more of an opportunity to understand yourself, right? To confront yourself, to see, okay, what do I have to believe or expect for this to be true, for my feeling, for me to feel this way? And so now you continue to confront yourself every moment, right? When you love this process and you love the tongue, then you will reap the beautiful harvest of the divine words that you say, okay? So every thought you think is creating your future. All right, so most people, let's talk about this, okay? The scripts you didn't know you inherited, the default prophecy. Like I said, there's two ways you can live. When you live unconsciously, then you are living by a default prophecy, where we base things on fate and the external world, and we say it's this person's fault and the economy and yada yada, and we blame everything. We become super victim man, walking through life blaming everything, right? How big of a victim can I be? Okay? This is that unconscious living where we believe that our life is in the hand of something else. But then there's conscious living when we actually live by divine prophecy, when we begin to speak as if we've remembered who we are, right? What's up, what's up? So most people don't live, they repeat. They echo ancestral fears. They wear cultural shame. They act out the same loops as their parents, calling it personality. This is unconscious prophecy, the silent agreement to relive the past and call it fate. Unconscious prophecy, the silent agreement, living unconsciously, making an agreement to relive the past and call it fate, right? What's another way that we can define or word fate when people say, well, that's just how it is? Well, I just have to accept that this is how men are. This is how women are. This is how it is these days. This is just how the economy is. This is just how the job market is. Money is just difficult to get. You know what I'm saying? This is something I'm just an anxious avoidant, right? We use whatever people tell us out there, and we turn it into our own prophecy. Okay? So this is unconscious prophecy, the silent agreement to relive the past and call it faith, or call it fate. What does Exodus 25 say? The sins of the fathers are visited upon the children. Let's break that down. The sins of the father are visited upon the children. This goes hand in hand with this unconscious prophecy. Okay? This verse speaks to the reality that we inherit more than eye color or surnames. We inherit spiritual patterns. How many people are born into a certain religion, and because they're born in it, that's just what it is, right? You're born into a certain thought process, and because you were born into it, that's just what it is, all right? The sins of the fathers are not divine punishments passed down by a wrathful God, some mean God that has an agenda, but is the energetic residue of choices unhealed and lessons learned, right? Hold on to this, because we're going to talk about this and we're going to break it down in another perspective that I think will really help, all right? This is not divine punishment passed down by a wrathful God. God is infinite love. There's nothing to be forgiven for because God doesn't judge. It's pure love. It is the energetic residue of choices unhealed and lessons unlearned. Trauma, beliefs, addictions, emotional wounds. These echo through generations like a song stuck on repeat. What isn't faced in one life becomes a script unconsciously lived in the next, right? Before you even become aware, conscious in this life, you're being programmed. Your parents programming you. All right, telling you this is how to act, this is how to be. The school's programming you, this is how to act, this is how to be. The church programming you, this is how to act, this is how to be. Your job, this is how to act, this is how to be. This is the goals that you need to focus on. All right? So now we take our worldview and we pass it down to our children. And they take it and they just run unconsciously. All right? Now, because life is fractal, and we can break down life in multiple dimensions, multiple levels, right? It's not just your parents that are passing things to you. It's you passing yourself things moment by moment, right? So the same way that we can divide life into generations, we can divide it into years, we can divide it into grades, we can divide it into moments as well. What are you holding on to from the last moment that you need to let go of? All right, what residue are you holding on to from that? Right? Maybe it's a relationship that you were in and it made you feel bitter about the opposite gender. And now you have this assumption, this is just how they are. Is that expectation in alignment with how you want to live? If not, why are you holding on to it? If not, why are you holding on to it? All right? Traumas, beliefs, addictions, emotional wounds, these echo through generations like a song stuck on repeat. They also echo through moments of our life. We forget that the only purpose of quote unquote negative situations is just to give you more clarity. You get more clarity on what you want. This is the purpose of negative situations, unless you believe, you know what I'm saying, that we do serve this wrathful, cruel God. Right, that punishes you. It's going to send you to some dark place in hell to be tortured for eternity. Right? Your situations that are negative, right? They're not testing you. They're simply reflecting who you're being. And you have the opportunity in that moment to choose better, just to get more clarity. If you ask most people what they want, how do we explain this? We explain this through the lens of what? What we don't want. Because I've went through this, I know I don't want this. Tell somebody to explain a good man or a good woman, a woman or man that they want. If they did not have the knowledge of what they didn't want, it would be very difficult for them to explain what they do want. So even those situations are purposeful. Who's more important on the journey? The one that gives you clarity about what you want, the one that breaks your heart, the one that pushes you into a better version of yourself, or the one that you end up with? Would you even be with the one you end up with if it wasn't for that person before? Probably not, maybe so, right? They're both divine. Neither one is more divine than the other. They were both source in disguise. They were both reflections of you trying to wake your ass up, right? So to awaken is to interrupt the pattern. You may have been born into the fallout of someone else's forgetting, but you are not bound to their blindness. You are the one chosen to see it clearly and say, this ends with me. You're not a victim of anybody. You're not a victim of your parents' programming. You're not a victim of your therapist's words. You're not a victim of your zodiac sign. You're not a victim of any of this shit. You're simply a victim of what you believe to be true. And that's it. You're the one who creates the prison. Your zodiac sign, that anxious avoidant attachment style was never meant to be a prison for you. You're the one who makes it a prison. Your expectations, your beliefs, you accepting it makes it a prison for you. All right? So this verse is not about generational punishment. It's about generational invitation. What patterns do you have to break from the generation before you? What patterns do you have to break from the last moment, from the last relationship that you were in? What patterns do you have to break within yourself? Okay. So the invitation to break cycles, to cleanse bloodlines, to transmute inherited shadow into sacred light. You don't carry the weight of your ancestors to be buried beneath you, to be buried beneath it. You carry it so you can redeem it. And when you choose to heal, you don't just rewrite your story, you rewrite theirs too. All right. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Unconscious prophecy. Right, the fate. This is just how things are. This is the way that is. This is the way my parents were. I just been like this. You know what I'm saying? The unconscious prophecy doesn't require words. It's embedded in vibration, in the way you speak to yourself, in what you believe is possible. Until you break the cycle, you live as a vessel for old scripts. You live in a time loop. How many people you know live in a time loop? We all know a certain person or certain people that always complain about the opposite gender. And they will always find a way to end up in the same type of situation. You always get cheated on. You always get ghosted. You always get left. This is your expectation playing out in real time, showing you something about yourself. You've never been a victim. You couldn't be a victim. The source within you can't be a victim. The divine within you can't be a victim. This is just you taking on the personality. I am that I am. And you decided that that personality that you were going to wear in the middle of the I am that I am was victim. And so now your external world has to play that out. All right? Words are wombs. What you speak, you birth. Okay? Every time you speak, you open a portal. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds. You plant them in the soil of time and life responds. Not to what you want, but to what you declare. All right, let's talk about words for a second. Words are programming. Think about it like this. Your life can never outpace your language. Your life can never outpace the story that you're telling. Even if you look through history, all right, nothing can be created if language doesn't go first. Language has to go before the creation. Let's give an example of this. Before a car was created, language had to be created to think of a car. Someone conceptualized it. Okay, car. So language was created for it. What is it made of? All right, it's made of engine, this, that, all right? So I want you to think of your words this way. Let me give a more simplistic example. You have words. Words are energy. If you've ever seen The Matrix, there is a part where Neo's fighting the agent in the hallway, and he finally wakes up to who he is, the same way that you wake up to who you are. Right? And instead of seeing the actual agents, he sees ones and zeros, programming. Words carry a vibration, an energy. Words can be masculine or feminine. A masculine word is a 1, all right, a feminine word being a 0. Words are also built within words. So if I look at this cup right here, all right, cup is one word. But within this cup, there are several words that make up it, right? White cup, plastic cup, cup with water in it, hot cup, cold cup, right? All of these words make up a cup. Before this cup could be created, all those words had to be used. The language had to go first. Every time you are speaking in your life, you're programming your reality with your words. You live in a matrix. You live in a high-tech computer simulation. Think of it like that. And your words, your thoughts are programming it, right? The example with the car. Before the car could be created, they had to think of the different parts of the car. Okay, it has to run. What's going to make it run? All right, gas and fuel and some with electricity. We're going to give it an engine, combustion system. All of these things are going to have doors. They're going to open this way, right? You have to use your language to create it before. It doesn't just come into existence and then you define it, right? So your language always travels before life. This is the power of your words. Your words are programming reality as you go. Be mindful of them, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And those that love it, right, bear its fruits. All right, words are not just sounds, they are seeds. They are not just sounds, they are seeds. And I love that you loved it. I appreciate you. You plant them in the soil of time and life responds. Not to what you want, but to what you declare. Joel 3:10, one of my favorite verses. Let the weak say I am strong. Let's break that down. Let the weak say, I am strong, right? Not let the weak reprogram their subconscious mind until they feel strong. Let's give a different way of saying this. Let those who see a little bit of money in their bank account say, I am prosperity. Let those who see betrayal, who feel betrayed, say, I am loved. Let those who feel sick say, I am healthy, right? Let the weak say, I am strong, right? You do not declare things as you feel, as you see them, because reality is meaningless. It's just a reflection of you. It's just a projection. You declare things as you want to be, how you want to experience them. Whatsoever you ask in the Father's name will be given to you. The Father's name being I am. Whatever you ask will be given. All right? Not whatever you reprogram will be given. All right? Whatever you ask in this present moment will be given to you. All right. Next, John 1, and then 14. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. Keep in mind, we're just talking about words right here. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. What is the definition of incarnate? It's Word becoming flesh. All right. And then Florence Scovel Shinn, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, your word is your wand. Right. So if you say that you always fail, Source, the universe, infinite intelligence says as you wish. It's not punishing you. It's not punishing you. It's simply reflecting you, okay? When you say, I was born for this, all right? Reality begins to arrange itself accordingly because you are not just observing life. You are shaping it with every syllable. Remember, right? You're always playing those three characters. You are pretending to be the ego. The ego believes in separation. The ego loves separation, right? It loves to think me and them and me, right? Him and I, right? It loves to, I am a son and a brother and this and that. Those are just identities and roles that you're playing. You're much more. You're every version of yourself wrapped into one right now. You're every version of yourself wrapped into one right now, right? Anything that you can imagine, you can have. Let me say that again. Anything that you can imagine, you can have. The only thing that you could never imagine, no matter how hard you try, you could never imagine not existing. It's impossible for you. This is the infinite nature of your soul. You can imagine black space. What happens when you go to sleep and you don't dream? You don't even remember falling asleep. You just wake up like, okay, nothing happened. You don't know what happened. You cannot imagine not existing. It's impossible. Good evening. So everything that you could ever imagine yourself being, it all exists within you right now. All those infinite versions. And together, all of those infinite versions make up the wholeness of you. Each of those infinite versions are attached to a reality out here that you experience and walk through. So you assume one perspective, and because you're only assuming one perspective, remember, as physics say, if you're looking at an atom, if you're looking at the material world, you can only see what? 0.0001% of reality. The rest of it is energy and empty space. So you assume one perspective of your infinite nature. One. That one perspective is the equivalent to the 0.0001%, and reality forms to match it. You only see 0.001%. Now you can switch perspectives because in my Father's house are many mansions, the Father's house being the temple, being you. You are the Father's house. You are the temple of God. And all those mansions within you represent different dimensions within you. Different dimensions within you. Many mansions, dimensions. So it's almost like it rhymes for a reason, right? They're all within you. You could never be anything less than whole. You're just assuming one perspective right now. There's nothing for you to work towards or strive for or reach for. You simply put on a new perspective right now and you occupy a different 0.001%. You occupy a different 0.01%. All right? It's all you. It's all you. So when you occupy this one perspective, what happens is you start to naturally feel a potential feeling of lack. All right? This lack isn't real. It is just reminding you of the infinite nature of yourself. The infinite nature of yourself. Because you're only assuming one perspective of the wholeness of who you are, you're going to naturally feel a little bit of lack. Because now if you switch perspectives, you can get those things that you're missing, right? But the lack is really a paradox because it's reminding you that you are whole. This one perspective just has you desiring things. Think about it like this. I try to break this down as many ways as possible until it clicks. Everything that you desire is associated with a certain personalities, right? Different perspectives. Every time you switch perspectives, you are switching dimensions. Every time you switch dimensions, it just means you are switching perspectives. You are switching perspectives and dimensions every moment. Every single moment, you are switching these things. All right? So the wholeness of you is not used to this linear timeline. When you were one with Source, before you descended into matter and you wrapped yourself in flesh and you decided to go through time, when you were one with Source, you still are. But when you were one with Source, okay, everything was instant. You desire this, it's there. You desire that, it's there. Everything is here right now. There's no such thing as loss because the version of you that's experiencing your mother being born, your mother passing away, is happening at the same time. So now when you descend here, you're introduced to new things. You're walking through time to experience things. So before you were used to, okay, if I think it, I can have it. There's no such thing as losses if it's all happening now. But now when I come down here, if I lose someone, this is the illusion of loss, even though their soul is eternal. How do you know your soul is eternal? I want you to think about how you think of love. When you love someone, right? Do you think of loving them to the end of your life? No, you think of much further than that. You think of loving them to eternity, infinitely, beyond this lifetime. Beyond this lifetime. I will love you till infinity, right? Whatever happens next, I can't imagine forgetting you. This is how much I love you, right? This is the infiniteness of you, the infiniteness, if that's a real word. It is today. That's the infiniteness of you. All right? So now you come down here and you have a desire and you're introduced to the concept of longing. You have to go through linear time to get that thing. All right? It's an illusion because you have it right now, but now you're going through the unfolding of having that event from within you just so you can get to know yourself more. Because what's the purpose of having it all if you can't experience creating it all? All right? This is the divine nature of you. All right, let me back up a little bit. So repetition is a spell. Break it or embody it. If you say something enough times, you don't just believe it, you become it. That's why affirmations aren't fluff, they're tools of divine authorship. You've already been affirming unconsciously through your complaints, your sarcasm, your self-doubt. Now it's time to take your pen back. So Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Do not conform to the world. Don't conform to the world. Don't conform to what I see. You don't see things as you believe they are, right? We see things as we are. Reality has nothing to do with reality itself. It has everything to do with you. You are the one creating reality as you go. All right. There is power in naming things. Another quote. What you repeat, you ritualize. All right. What is the purpose of affirmation? You got to think. These things are rituals. If you ever just looked at, old movies, you've researched ancient times, repetition is key. And we see this throughout things, right? You might see a whole bunch of people repeating one chant, repeating a mantra. Even if you go to the Catholic Church, right? I was born in the Catholic Church. There is a rosary, right? This rosary right here. Let me see if I can get it off here. All right, a rosary. Each of these beads represents a different prayer on the rosary. Our Fathers, Hail Marys, something else, all right? But the purpose of this is that you repeat the prayer over and over and over and over and over again until you get to the end. It's not that it's going to make miracles happen faster, right? It's that you're just going to feel better after you do it. This is an affirmation. So affirmations are throughout history. You see affirmations all over the place, all right? What you repeat, you ritualize, and what you ritualize, you become. So ask yourself, am I casting spells of sovereignty or cycles of survival? right. Divine authorship. Write the vision and make it flesh. You were never meant to be a character in someone else's story. I'm going to pause right there. I'm going to highlight that, bold it up. You were never meant to be a character in someone else's story. Do you know what happens when you walk through life unconsciously? Is that you stop creating and you start being the product of other people's creations. So this is what we were talking about earlier when we talked about unconscious prophecy. If you go through life unconsciously, just sleep. You just sleepwalk through life. Then you are going to be a product of other people's stories. Your parents told you this. And now you assume that, you believe that, you expect that, and that creates your reality. The teacher told you this. The job told you this. And you accept these beliefs, right? Your ex told you this. You accept these beliefs and you walk through life and you become a byproduct of somebody else's manifestation. You're not even creating your own reality anymore. You're just taking assumptions from other people and creating this hodgepodge and calling it you, and walking through life unconsciously, wondering why things are always the same. Let's break this down further. Let's take another step back. Most of what you believe is not your original thought anyway. Most of what you believe you heard from other people. You heard it from your parents, from teachers, from books, from YouTube, from wherever you get it from. You've heard it from other people, right? The things that you have believed and embodied the most, those are your dominant beliefs. That's how you dominantly walk through life. All right. Now, because we are such a communal group, like a communal species, we talk, we communicate, we share a lot of our beliefs and opinions. It is always going to be beneficial for you to challenge all of your beliefs and all of your expectations. And really ask yourself, do I really want my life to turn out like this expectation? If I don't, then that's not an expectation that I should hold, right? It's not an expectation that I should hold. And you do this every moment. Every moment is showing you your expectations, right? What you eat, what you watch, how you look at the opposite gender, how you look at women, how you look at men, right? All of these things are showing you your expectations. They're showing you who you are in every moment. So it's not that you really just need to sit down and write on a piece of paper all these things. You can, but every moment is fresh and new. It's a new perspective of yourself. Use every moment as an opportunity to see yourself. Understand that it's all just a mirror. What is it telling you? Do you feel negative about certain things? Well, if you feel negative about it, understand and remember, your emotion, it's just energy and motion. There's only one energy, it's source. It's the divine, it's God. It's the universe. It's one energy flowing through you. One energy. You have an ego that creates stories, assumptions, explanations, and because that one energy is then translated by your ego, you feel it as anxiety or fear or happiness or joy or excitement. But it's all the same energy. You just view it on a different scale of polarity. Think about it like this. Hot and cold are both just energy. You just feel them different. But they're both just energy. Your emotion is just one energy. There's only one energy. You just feel it different based on your assumptions. So your energy is just an effect of a thought. It's not an opportunity to say, oh, I feel bad. Let me go run off with a new story about negativity. It's an opportunity to say, whoa. I'm feeling this way because this belief, this expectation is not in alignment with the source within me. So now I can challenge that expectation. In the moment, it will dissolve. And as I hold on to that assumption, that new assumption, now life rearranges for me. Okay? So you were never meant to be a character in someone else's story. Don't stop being products of other people's manifestations, other people's beliefs and expectations. You're becoming the proof for them, right? Become the proof for yourself. You are the pen, the page, and the breath that moves across it. To live consciously is to write your own prophecy on purpose, to declare what shall be even when it is not yet visible, to speak from the I am, not the I hope. To speak from the I am and not the I hope. All right. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, right? Plain and clear. What do you want? I am source. I am divine. Everything is always working out for me no matter what. Don't care what the situation looks like. The source within me is perfect. So the situation must be unfolding perfectly. All right? You are a living scroll of divine intention. This is not about lying to yourself. Okay? Well, I have to be realistic. You know, I can't just gaslight myself. This is how it really is. This is how the circumstances is. Spare me. Right? The circumstances are what they are, but what story are you telling about them? Are you creating a prison based on them? Or are you saying that because it's not what I want yet, I'm still in the unfolding? If you're not seeing what you want, you're still on the unfolding. It's not done yet. It's all unfolding perfectly. Sometimes the mirror looks backwards when we look at it. It's the nature of a mirror. Sometimes the mirror looks crazy. Right? But you are not a victim of anything. The situation might not look perfect, but the God within you is perfect. So the situation must be perfect. Situation must be perfect. All right? It is about aligning with the truth that already lives within you. The prophecy is not waiting to happen. It is waiting for you to speak it awake. Right? You're the author. You're the editor of the book as well. If you don't like it, you can change it. You're also the main character. You're the director. You're giving the script to everybody as you write it. Okay? So final reflection. All right? Speak as if you are already what you seek. Stop asking the world to reflect what you won't declare. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Stop waiting for confirmation before you create. Your life is not responding to your desires. It is responding to your declarations. Just say the word. Lord, I'm not worthy to receive you, but only say the word. I am worthy. The word is I am. All right? And I shall be healed, or my servant shall be healed. You can either speak the old prophecy again, and really you are the quote unquote, you can either speak the old prophecy again or become the voice of something the world has never heard. All right? Call those things, Romans 4:17, call those things which be not as though they were. Walk by faith, not by sight. All right? The moment you commit, the universe conspires to support you. So speak, not timidly, not like someone asking for permission, but like one who remembers. I am the mouthpiece of the Most High. I don't just have a future, I prophesy it, and then I become it. Right? We no longer live by other people's scripts, by what your parents told you to expect, by what the world and news told you to expect, by what your ex told you to expect, by what some person online told you to expect. You simply walk by what you want to expect, and you allow that to unfold in front of you. Right? You are the author. You are the divine author of your reality. All right? Also remember this. When I talk about you being the operant power, think about it like this. Before I close this. Creation is done. All right? Just like every version of you that you could be already lives within you. Every version of reality, every possible unfolding of reality already exists as well within you. So source has done its job. You being the operant power, you get to decide who you are going to be and embody in this moment. And that is going to unfold from within you on a new timeline. You're never changing anything or anybody. Right? This person that you might be trying to manifest or change, this situation that you're seeing that you might be trying to manifest or change, you're not changing them. One of the best parts of the Matrix, in my perspective, is before Neo went to see the Oracle, he's talking to those kids. And the kids said, don't try to bend the spoon. It's impossible. Right? Don't try to change the external circumstance or change that person. It's impossible. Right? Simply realize the truth. There is no spoon. Right? There is nobody outside of you. There is no situation to change. Leave them where they are. This version of them is a perfect version of them, aligned with a perfect version of you. It was perfect for this version of you, this perspective of you. There's nothing to change. Leave them where they are. Look at them as perfect and change yourself. Right? You bend yourself and the spoon bends. You change yourself and reality changes. And you do not change them per se. Let me be very careful about my language right here. You don't change them. By embodying a new version of yourself, by changing into a new perspective, by remembering who you are, you create a completely different version of them. You select, you choose a different version of them. You don't want that person anymore. You don't want this same bank account. You don't want that same empty bank account. You want a different one with more money, where money flows more freely. You don't want that same person that was doing you wrong. You want a different version of them that always does you right. And as you wake up to this truth, you'll realize miraculous things happen. People walk back in your life, and all of a sudden, they have no recollection of some of the things that had happened before, because this is a completely different version of them. You're not changing anybody. You're not bending the spoon. It's impossible. You're not changing this person. It is impossible. You're not changing your bank account or the situation or the job. It's impossible to change. And it's just a reflection anyway. All right? You simply go within, grant yourself a new version of them. You love this version as what it is. And until this new version of them or that account shows up in your life, that circumstance shows up in your life, you realize that you are still just in the unfolding. Situation might not look ideal, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation is unfolding perfectly from within me, and you don't waver in that knowing. All right? Allow these old things to pass away. Allow them to be. Don't struggle and strive and try to suppress them and push them away and run away from them and force them to change. All right? You simply change your perspective, your consciousness, your awareness, your focus, and you allow them to fade away and the new version to show up in your life. This is you being the conscious creator. This is you being the operant power. Right? The moment that you believe you're changing something, you're not. You're simply selecting something completely different. You're going into a different dimension by going into a different perspective. In my Father's house are many mansions. You are the Father's house. You are the temple. And the mansions within the Father's house, the temple, that is you, the mansions are different dimensions, different perspectives, different timelines, all within you. There's nothing to struggle for. There's nothing to beg for. You have the keys to the house. You can switch perspectives whenever you want. All right? So in conclusion, you are either the creator or you are living by other people's programming and you're living in other people's manifestations. Right? Make the decision in this moment right now. You don't have to wait until you meditate later. You don't have to wait for anything. Make the decision right now that you are on your highest timeline. Right? My life is getting better in every moment. Every moment my life is getting better no matter what. No matter how I think, no matter how I feel. Right? I am worthy right now. I could never be anything less than worthy because source is within me. What if you don't feel worthy? Doesn't matter, you still are. What if you don't want to be worthy? Doesn't matter, you still are. The God within you is perfect no matter what. What if you don't think God is within you? Doesn't matter. What if you don't feel like God is within you? Doesn't matter. You're still perfect no matter what. Right? Whether you feel like you're doing the things to be worthy or not, you still are. Right? We have to drop the illusion that the ego has created. Drop the illusion. Like, stop pretending to be anything less than source. Anytime you believe you have to strive or work or do all these things to be worthy, you are pretending too hard. You are struggling and arguing for your limitations. You are believing in the illusion a little bit too much, man. Chill, lighten up, take a step back. Even if you don't feel worthy, you still are. You could never be anything less. You don't feel like love, you can never be anything less. Drop the illusion. Drop the illusion. All right. This is all I have for today. You know, if anybody got any parlays on the game tonight, y'all be careful. Y'all be very, very careful. All right. But y'all have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. And of course, I'm going to end it with some affirmations. Speak some life into each other before we go. All right. But I appreciate y'all's time as always. Truly, truly, I appreciate these discussions, these conversations. All right. I see you all as divine. You are all divine. You're perfect. You are gods. You are goddesses. Right? Sources within you. You could not be anything less. Sources within you just the way that you are within source. You are absolutely worthy, no matter how you feel. You are absolute prosperity, no matter how you feel. And everything that you desire, you're already in alignment with it right now. All right? Even if you don't feel like you're in alignment, just say the word. Just say the word. I am in alignment no matter what. It is all unfolding from within you. Continue to walk with faith. Continue to be strong. Right? If you do not feel prosperous, if you don't feel perfect, it's okay, because I see you as that way anyway, so I know it must be true. All right, y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Until next time, God willing. And I appreciate y'all truly. All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.